am working on Schubert-Liszt Auf dem zu singen. Auf dem zu singen was originally a poem written by Stolberg and later set to music by Franz Schubert in 1823. During Schubert's lifetime, his music, including his great symphonies, piano music, chamber music, and over 600 songs, were not very well known outside of his close musical circle. After his death, Franz Liszt, who was a very famous composer and probably the most famous pianist at the time, heard some of these magical songs by Franz Schubert, and he fell in love with them. He studied them very closely and rewrote them for solo piano so that a pianist like himself can play it in public recitals. So what we have are transcriptions of Schubert's songs for solo piano, which are in Pianist's standard repertoire. I played Auf dem zu singen a few years ago in my recital, but I was not very happy with the performance. It was too fast, voicing was not very good, and a little things that bothered me. So I decided to work on it again. So here is me practicing Auf dem zu singen by Schubert and Liszt. In Auf dem zu singen, each verse of the poem is set to the same music. There are 3 verses, so you will hear the same music 3 times with the introduction and postlude. The form reflects the poem. There is not a storyline to the poem, and the sentiment stays more or less the same throughout. There is almost a cyclic quality in the music, as well as in the text. The harmony is uncomplicated, and the phrases tend to come back to its harmonic origin every time. In the poem, the narrator is just floating on the water, reflecting on the scenery with rippling waves, treetops, and the reddening glow of the sun. I'm playing the first verse, where the melody appears in the tenor line. A pianist's instinct would be to pedal with the changes of the harmony, but here I pretty much pedal every note of the melody. A singer would never have 2 notes overlapping. Each note should resonate, creating a rich and smooth line. The right hand is practically in pianissimo. I want to sound like the ripples of waves. No notes should really stick out in texture, just the softest I can manage. And I had to record myself and listen. I knew that ear's natural tendency to listen to the melody would let my right hand get loud from time to time. I had to practice this thousands of times until I felt like I was almost not playing the right hand. Only then I could sit back and enjoy listening to the melody floating without disruptions from the right hand. Here's the most difficult section in the piece, where the right hand now has both the rippling waves and the melody. One hand has the responsibility to do 2 things: to be the waves that ripple seamlessly under the smooth melody. This is really hard because the 2 elements need to be played with a different touch. After I realized playing it over and over is a waste of time, I went back and proceeded more methodically. It basically involved setting a high standard for myself and analyzing why it isn't working, and practicing it in bits and pieces, and recording myself to check my work. By the way, it may surprise you that I have to record myself to listen to myself. You may ask, can't you just hear yourself as you play? I do, but I do not trust my ears when I'm concentrating on something really difficult. The attention spent on executing a physically difficult part takes my attention away from the ability to listen as well as I could. Now the third verse. In a way, this is the easiest in terms of layering the sounds. The melody is now in the soprano line, and it has no problem of being heard as long as everything else stays reasonably quiet. I still have to watch my pedal, and the 16th notes, the ripples of waves, need to have no accents, but higher frequency of the soprano line is perceived to be louder and clearer. Soprano, we have passed through the 3 stanzas of the poem, but Liszt's transcription does not end here. Liszt adds this virtuosic and passionate section. The inwardness and the quiet mood of the poem is now transcended into an agitated and dramatic writing. The melody is doubled and the left hand moves across many octaves of the keyboard. Liszt himself was a virtuoso pianist and knew how to transform an idea idiomatically for the instrument. transcription. But he certainly would have appreciated a famous pianist and composer promoting his works by rewriting it and performing it in public. Do you appreciate one version or another? Or is the comparison meaningless? To play it is to appreciate the meaning of the poem, the lyricism of Schubert, and Liszt's mastery of writing for the piano, and each element is inseparable from understanding the whole work. I hope this video brightened your day and encourage you to listen to more beautiful music. Thank you and see you next time.